to Take 10 on Tuesdays with the Tennessee Tribune. My name is Sandra Weaver, and I am the editorial director for the Tennessee Tribune. And today, our guest, a special person, State Representative Brenda Gilmore. When we started 2013, Representative Brenda Gilmore was our very first guest, and we thought it would be appropriate to end the year talking to her about what has transpired during 2013 and where she thinks we'll be going in 2014. Welcome.
Thank you.
Gilmore.
Thanks for having me the first guest, and also thanks for inviting me back again. It's always nice when someone invites you into their home a second time.
Oh.
And I just want to say congratulations also to being in Nashville.
Oh, well, thank
Tennessee
you.
Tribune and Mrs. Perry is very fortunate to have you.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, let's go right to it. And
Okay.
what do you think was one of the biggest issues in 2013 that we were involved in?
Well, in the Tennessee General Assembly, we had a very fast-paced assembly this time. Probably education occupied more of our time than anything at all. There were a number of laws that were passed regarding education. First of all, the ceiling regarding the number of charter schools in in Tennessee was removed.
Mm-hmm.
Before that time, it was limited to 25. Now it's unlimited. In the past, it has been limited to children with free and reduced lunch.
Right.
Now it's any children.
Oh, wow.
And so we saw laws passed regarding virtual schools. Virtual schools are schools where children can stay at the computer the entire day, never have a live person or a live student to sit by them. And the virtual schools really was not successful. So the governor himself sponsored a bill limiting virtual schools to only 1,500 in Tennessee.
With 1,500 students.
1,500 students, yes.
In Tennessee.
In Tennessee.
Okay.
And
Now, I wanted to, just before we move away from that, because those are huge changes in education. So how has that impacted? Was there a lot of discussion on budget? Because this must have a huge impact on how money gets spent at public schools and charter schools.
Yes, in fact, it's been a huge amount of tension between local governments and state governments. In fact, in Metro had a charter application before them, the Great Hearts application, which basically was targeting affluent neighborhoods. And our Metro Board of Education says no, you have to have a representative number of children from all over the city, and you have to address them through some form of transportation. And so the tension continued to mount, and because our Metro Board of Education denied Great Hearts, the Department of Education in Tennessee penalized them and fined them $3 million, took $3 million from their budget.
Wow.
The mayor has gotten involved in it because he wanted Great Hearts to be approved, and many of our state leaders got involved in it. And as a result, there was some legislation that was sponsored by state leaders that would actually take the authority for approving charter schools out of the hands of local governments and put them in the hand of the State Department of State. That bill fell, however. It looked like it was about to sail through, and at the last minute, the senators hijacked the bill and held it. I expect it will come back up again in January, but it did not. It wasn't successful this time.
What do you hear from parents on this issue?
You know, parents, I think, just want the best education for their children. And in the beginning, I was very opposed to charter schools, and now I'm softening a bit on charter schools.
Really?
I think that there are some good ones and there are some bad ones. We have to find a balance, though, however, because if we have all charter schools, then what we will do is just siphon the money away from our public education.
Right.
And we will probably, more than likely, only leave poor children in our public schools. And we certainly do not want that to happen.
Right.
We want to value every child, to make sure that every child has a good education. And there's been all kinds of studies that have shown that when children have diversity in their classrooms, that they learn at a healthier rate.
And they thrive and
Yes.
do better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, that's a huge change in education. What do you see in 2014? Well, you've already said there'll continue to be discussion.
Yes,
Do you think the number will come, since the number of charter schools is now can be unlimited, do you think it will be capped again? Will another look be taken at that? Or?
I think it will continue to grow. And we see this trend not only in Tennessee but across the country. The charter schools will begin to grow, continue to grow. I think the vouchers will come back up. The governor sponsored vouchers last year, and his bill basically said that they would be targeted again to free and reduced lunch at children, and that there would be a 5,000 student cap on it. Up until 2016, that would be gradually increased, and in 2016 there still would be a 20,000 student cap.
Wow.
And there were some senators who thought it should be just opened up, and any child should be able to go to use a voucher, whether it was a religious facility or whether it was a private facility. So in effect, we would have been paying public dollars for children to go to private schools. And so the governor was not pleased, so he just pulled his entire bill back.
Wow.
I expect that to come back again, come up again this January when we go back into session.
Well, we'll be watching for that.
Mm-hmm.
But there was also good news about how Metro schools had done so well on the national testing level.
Yes, yes. In most of the areas, they have improved. In fact, even the gap between minority students, African American students, and white students seems to be closing. Not at the pace that most of us would like to see it close, but it is closing some. So it is good news. There's still, though, a huge void that we have to make up for, and we've got to just do everything we can to ensure that all of our children are successful. And I think studies and history will show to us is not that children cannot learn.
Right.
It's not that one group of children are superior to other. It's just that sometimes when some of the children from minority communities come from poor, and poverty probably is the overriding factor. They just don't come armed to school that very first day at the same level that children from more affluent households come from, where parents have read to them, have exposed them to
different experiences.
They've traveled. They have a large vocabulary, and again, this is just a matter of exposure and resources.
Right. Okay. Well, let's move on to some of the other issues that happened or events that took place in 2013. And one of them had to do with gun permit records. Now, talk a little bit about that and what that means.
Yeah, well, this actually was... it was born out of a request from the media, similar to your industry, asking to see gun records. But those gun enthusiasts says no. If a person has a felony, you can see it. Other than that, you can't. We're not going to open up the records. And most people, because we've seen a lot of unnecessary deaths. Children death at the schools, would like to see these records open. And if there are people who are being issued gun permits who have mental illnesses, the public feels like that they should know that. And all kind of studies and polls have shown that the public also agrees with that stance.
Do you think it will ever come to a direct vote to the public, or
no? It probably will continue to, the NRA and gun supporters is a very, very powerful industry, and so no, I don't expect, because most of them feel like that there's some efforts to restrict their ability to be armed.
They're concerned about their Second Amendment rights.
Exactly.
That they have. Okay. All right, well, we'll keep our eye on that one as well.
There was also a bill you'd probably be interested to know that we passed that said teachers could go armed to class.
That's right. Yes.
Yes. Now they do have to have training, but they can. Teachers will be packing if they want to be.
Okay. So is the training provided through the school district? So public dollars are then paying for teachers to become armed in classrooms?
No. Public dollars would not be used.
Okay.
You would have to use your own personal money to go, and it could be to a private facility or it could be through Metro Police sponsored class.
And these can be teachers in elementary schools, daycare facilities.
Yes.
So with very young children.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And
But
some of us who voted against that law felt like that there was a probability that children may get hold of those guns, and it would be even more of a tragedy
Right.
than teachers being armed with guns.
so would because where would the teachers store the gun? In the classroom,
That's
hopefully in a locked or.
We didn't specify that.
I see.
So that's a huge issue.
Yeah, that is
Making
an
sure
issue.
that we keep those children safe in more ways than one.
And will the public know which teachers are armed?
No, no, no.
Okay.
No.
That can be an issue as well.
Yes, I agree. I agree. We
Okay.
pray that there will not be any tragedies as a result of it, and that the bill will be carried out as it was intended.
And this is effective January 1st?
Yes.
2014. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Yeah, this will be interesting.
It will be
Something
interesting.
else that we'll have to keep our eyes on. I think so far Tennessee has been lucky. We haven't had a lot of issues with people coming into classrooms and killing teachers or children, and we pray that that will continue to happen.
I agree. Very fortunate.
Yeah,
Very fortunate.
we'll see where this goes.
Mhm.
Okay. Now, how about the wages, the prevailing wage? Tell
Yeah,
me.
that was. There are some of our colleagues who feel that the state should mandate to local governments what we pay our construction workers. And so there was a law that was passed that says that municipalities, local governments, do not have the authority to set prevailing wages. So in the past, if Nashville wanted to increase their wages to $15, of course, it's very high. We don't
Right.
pay that much.
Right.
Then they would have had that ability to, and Williamson County could have paid theirs $10 an hour. But state government passed a law that says they no longer have that authority.
Wow.
No longer have that authority.
Has there been any feedback or
What? Yeah.
complaints from the construction industry on this?
There hasn't. I think that there's been some feedback from local governments because over the years they have seen more and more of their rights being eroded. For example, 2 years ago, Metro government passed a law that says if you do business with us, you can't discriminate against anyone because of their gender or their sex, because they're lesbian or they're gay or transgender. And state government came back and passed a law that says no, you can't pass a bill like that. So I think that Metro government and governments across the state of Tennessee would rather make their own individual decisions rather than we in the state government making those decisions. And in a way, it's kind of hypocritical because we tell federal government to get out of our business
Right.
and not to mandate things that we have to do. And now we're mandating laws for local governments.
Wow, that's true. We're talking today with State Representative Brenda Gilmore about events that have taken place in 2013 and looking forward to 2014. One of the other interesting bills, discussions, it looked like it was almost about to pass, and that was to be able to sell wine in grocery stores. Is that just a dead issue at this point?
No, I feel like it's going to pass when we come back in January. It
Oh,
got
really?
very, very close to
Right.
passage. And I've just informally asked people in my community how they feel about it, and I really haven't gotten a strong reaction. So how do you feel about it?
That would be fine. No, we'll talk offline.
So I haven't made up my mind definitely how I'm going to vote, but I will say that from the informal survey that I've just conducted myself, there has not been a strong reaction of whether we should sell wine in grocery stores or in convenience stores or continue to just allow it to be sold in liquor stores.
In liquor stores. Okay. Well, we'll see. Maybe more people will weigh in as the discussion heats up again.
I
on that,
encourage them to
because-
contact me.
Yeah, that would be good. Now, what about workers' comp?
Well, there was also a bill passed that some of us feel like that will have a negative impact or decrease the amount a person will be able to draw in workers' comp. In effect, what the law did was set up a court where judges would make the decision, where a court of judges would make the decision whether someone is entitled to workman's comp. And in most cases, if it's a non-medical expense, those wages would be cut about 1/3.
Wow.
This is one, though, that was supported by the business community, and it got a healthy number of votes.
And that'll have a huge impact on a segment of the community.
It will. Exactly.
And one of the biggest issues that affected nearly everybody's life or sliced through, always hearing conversation about, is the Affordable Health Care Act. And where we stand with that, and all the issues with people trying to log on and be able to get insurance. How did that impact your office, and what did you hear from your constituents?
Well, I think that there are three main initiatives that were going on. One is whether we were participating in the health care exchange, and Governor Haslam opted not to do that.
Right.
Which means that rather than the people, citizens in Tennessee going to a Tennessee health exchange market, they will have to go and use the federal exchange market. And we've seen that when that was introduced in October, it was a dismal failure because simply the website wasn't prepared for the number of inquiries, and it crashed. But those states, like our neighboring state, Kentucky,
really,
they are registering a huge number of people, and has been tremendously successful. So most of the states who have held their own exchange are registering people at the record numbers.
Wow.
So, and then the second big initiative regarding...
before you go to the second one, so what needs to happen in Tennessee? Does another discussion need to happen about having, Tennessee health exchanges?
Well, I think that decision probably has already passed, and citizens still have just much of a right to go and use the federal exchange as they would state exchange.
Okay.
Yes. The second big initiative, it was whether we were going to participate in the Medicaid expansion.
Yes.
And the governor has also opted for Tennesseans not to participate in that. And that really kind of saddens most of us, because we know that there's over 700,000 people who are either not insured at all or underinsured.
In the state of Tennessee.
In the state of Tennessee. We've hear tragedy stories about people who paid $200 and $300 a month for insurance. They have a major illness such as cancer, breast cancer, or brain cancer, and find out that they insurance doesn't even cover that particular illness. And so we really wanted to see Tennessee participate in the Medicaid expansion, and that has not occurred. We still can do that. Basically, the federal mandate to have insurance says for the first 5 years, federal government would pay most of the expenses. For the first 3 years, it was 100%.
Wow.
You get 100% dollars. And for the fourth and fifth year, it would be 90%, 90 cents to our 10 cents. So for every $1, we would put in 10 cents, and federal government would put in 90 cents.
Wow.
Yeah. So we leaving a
lot of money on the table.
Exactly. Billions of dollars. And as taxpayers, we're paying it, which means that other states around the country are enjoying our tax dollars.
Right. And so what is it that Tennesseans can do about that?
Well, I think that Tennesseans can write to the governor and encourage him. Send the emails to your legislators, your state senators, and your state representatives, and encourage us to vote for it, to continue the discussions, to bring it up, because we still can participate. We still can opt in at any time.
Okay. And there was a third initiative?
Yeah, that was the third initiative is that there were navigators around the country who were trained to help people get onto the system.
Right.
And in Tennessee, we passed a law that says these navigators have to be certified by the state of Tennessee. So that limited the number of people who are able to help people get actually registered and be a part of the affordable health care.
Wow.
Mhm.
So what kind of certification training do they have to go through? I mean,
I'm not
you're
sure,
not sure, but
exactly.
it does slow up the process.
Exactly. It just puts another barrier or hurdle that people have to
overcome.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And I think as community leaders, what we're starting doing, or what I've been doing, is just holding informational sessions where we try to educate the public, because insurance is very complicated,
Right.
and affordable health care is very complicated, and try to educate them, and particularly young people, students at Tennessee State, Fisk, Meharry,
Right.
American Baptist College. We want to encourage them.
HBCUs.
The affordable health care will be successful when we get more young people registered, because of course they're much more healthier
Yes.
than we are. yes. So I think that you'll see outpouring in the community of community leaders, church leaders, trying to get everybody on registered.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the other big changes coming has to do with the stadium. And,
Oh, yes.
And how is that going to change the community?
I'm so excited that our local leaders have pushed forth and have been able to get that bill approved. It barely squeaked by, but it got approved.
Mm-hmm.
They needed 27 votes. I think they got 29 votes.
Wow.
But I really believe it's going to mean a lot to our community. When you look at all parts of the city, you just see cranes and construction, and everything is booming. And we have just not witnessed that in the northern part of the county.
Right.
And we know that there's a limited number of amenities and businesses and restaurants, and we expect to see that when that stadium is complete, because one of the other companion bills has a mixed use development around the stadium. So we feel like it's going to be a ripple effect, and hopefully it will continue down Jefferson Street.
Great. Okay.
Mhm.
Now let's talk a little bit. Anything else coming in 2014 that we should be aware of and focusing on? And
Well,
putting our efforts behind.
Well, again, I'm going to put my efforts in trying to get people registered for the affordable health care.
Mhm.
You know, we have to do that prior
Right.
to March 31st,
Mark. Okay.
2014.
Mhm.
So we're going to try to do that as much as we can. And as I shared with you earlier, there's still a lot of talk about education.
Yes.
Trying to make sure that all of our students are as educated. And I've been very interested also in educating parents about something that's coming along, and that's closing the digital divide.
Ah.
In a few years, all tests will be given on the computer.
Wow. Okay.
So I'm trying to educate parents about that. And those who cannot afford to get a computer, some of the companies like Comcast and AT&T have special plans. I know Comcast has a plan where you can purchase a computer for $99, and then it's $10 a month to maintain it. And that's for children, and again with free and reduced lunches would qualify for that. But we want to get our children trained on computers, because if you go in to take a test and you don't know how to use a computer, you're already at a disadvantage.
You're already behind, and way behind, unfortunately.
Yes, exactly. Even if you know the content and don't know how to use the computer, then yes, it will severely affect your grade. So I will continue to try to get that message out in the public, and just generally trying to be proactive in educating the community about things that will help and give them a healthier lifestyle.
Great.
All
right.
Continue to work on trying to reduce obesity in the community. Again, I'm going to sponsor Kids and Kites in March, encouraging adults and children to come out and fly kites and just move, bringing awareness to, again, reducing obesity.
Okay. That sounds good. We'll be on the lookout for that.
Okay.
But thank you for coming to talk with us today.
Thank you. Thanks for the
We appreciate
invitation.
it. Oh, definitely. Have a happy new year.
Thank you.
And we'll be talking to you in 2014.
I look forward to that.
All right. And thank you for joining us today.
Thank
We've had
you.
a wonderful conversation with State Representative Brenda Gilmore, and we will continue to talk with her during the new year. Thank you.
Thank you.